Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Kirti Sophia Panachan, and in today's session we'll be learning the poem Home by Warsan Shire. Warsan Shire was born on 1st August 1988 to Somali parents in Kenya, East Africa. Having spent most of her life in London, she is considered as a British Somali poet, editor, and teacher. Shire, who defined poetry as a healing agent for the trauma of exile and suffering, has been writing about the refugee experiences for years and was named the first young poet laureate for London in 2014. She also teaches workshops on exploring memory and healing trauma through the power of the spoken word. Her major works include Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth in 2011, Her Blue Body in 2015, and Our Men Do Not Belong to Us in 2015. Poems including The Unbearable Weight of Staying, Dear Moon, How to Wear Your Mother's Lipstick, Nail Technician as Palm Reader, For Women Who Are Difficult to Love, featured on Lemonade, a visual album by Beyoncé in 2016. Shire's work, according to Alexis Okiowo, embodies the kind of shape-shifting, culture-juggling spirit lurking in most people who cannot trace their ancestors to their country's founding fathers or whose ancestors look nothing like those fathers. In that limbo, Shire conjures up a new language for belonging and displacement. Shire is poetry editor of Spook magazine and has read her work in South Africa, Italy, Germany, and the United States. She was awarded the Brunel University African Poetry Prize in 2013 and chosen as Poet in Residence for Queensland, Australia in 2014. So, in this paragraph, we could learn more about Warsan Shire, that she was born to Somali parents in Kenya in 1st August 1988. Later on, she spent most of her life in London, and she herself is considered as a British Somali poet, editor, and teacher. In her poetry, we could see a lot of healing agent for the traumas that she has suffered during the exile, and she has written about her refugee experiences in her works. She was named the first young poet laureate for London in 2014, and she has written a number of works which I've already explained. And one of the works that she is most known for is Lemonade, a visual album, which was published by Beyoncé in 2016, had uh, Warsan Shire's works featured in it. And we could see that she was the poetry editor of Spook magazine, and she has read her works in many countries, and she received an award in 2013, that is the Brunel University African Poetry Prize. And we could see that she is a poet in residence in Australia in 2014. And Alexis Okiowo, she is an American journalist who is a staff writer at the New Yorker, and she's the author of A Moonless, Starless Sky and all. And she has described about Shire as a person who is able to bring up a new language for belonging and displacement. Many writers were unable to write about their ancestors in their works and place them in a perfect manner. But Shire was a person who was able to bring a new language of belonging and displacement. Moving on to the introduction, the contemporary refugee crisis poses enormous challenges for the international humanitarian community. Approximately 68.5 million people had been driven from their homes across the world by the end of 2017, more than double the population of Australia, as per the annual study of the United Nations Refugees Agency. Every minute, 24 people around the world are forced to flee their homes, which makes 34,000 people a day. Most people leave home due to poverty, war, and ethnic, tribal, and religious violence. On the other hand, there is a global outrage about the massive number of migrants settling in Europe and America by the right-wing political parties. Literature and cinema of the present decade bring home the stark reality of the horrifying refugee lives. So, the life of the refugees are extremely horrible even now. A number of people are becoming refugees. They have to leave their home and find new home due to a number of reasons, especially due to poverty, war, ethnic, tribal, and religious violence and all. Almost 24 people around the world every minute is being forced to flee their homes. So many people are becoming migrants and settling in Europe and America by the right wing political parties. They have allowed them to come to those places and settle down. And through literature and cinema, the present day people are able to understand the horrific conditions and realities that the refugees have to face through their lives. The basis for Home, written in 2016, is Shire's own 2009 poem Conversations About Home, which is inspired by a visit she made to the abandoned Somali embassy in Rome, which some young refugees had turned into their home. The harsh reality of living as an undocumented refugee in Europe constitutes the essence of both the poems. Regarding her poems, Shire herself states, "I am from Somalia, where there has been a war going on for my entire life. I grew up with a lot of horror in the backdrop, a lot of terrible things that have happened to people who are really close to me and to my country and to my parents. But you don't know what they have been victims of or what they have done to other people." Them being able to tell me and then me writing it, it's cathartic, being able to share their stories. Even if it is something really terrible, something really tragic, sometimes I'm telling other people's stories to remove stigma and taboo so that they don't have to feel ashamed. Sometimes you use yourself as an example. Shire states that no one will leave home unless they really have to, and is a reminder that refugees do not willfully, maliciously come to a country to do harm. Instead, they are forced out of their homes by violent atrocities unwillingly. Her poetry achieved universal significance when lines like "No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark" were widely used by demonstrators at rallies in the US against the recent ban of the migrants by Donald Trump. So, in this paragraph, we could see that the poem Home, written by Warsan Shire, was written in 2016, and Shire's own 2009 poem Conversation About Home is the basis for the poem Home that we are about to study. And in this poem, we could see that she describes the lives of refugees and the troubles and sacrifices that they are doing each and every day for their survival. Warsan Shire herself has told about why or how she wrote the poem Home. And she herself has stated that she is from Somalia, and a war has been going on in Somalia for ages. And she grew up in Somalia in such a terrible situation. She also states that a number of horrible things have happened to her and to her dear ones who lived in Somalia, and they have become victims. And all these things that she, her family, and the people that she knew faced have been represented through her works. And she wanted to bring this reality towards the forefront so that people would discuss about refugees and their crisis. And in the poem Home, a line has become extremely famous, that is, no one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. This line has been quoted and used by many people, and especially this line was used during the time when a ban for migrants was established by Donald Trump when he was the president of the United States. He he brought a ban against the migrants, and people used this line to demonstrate rallies and all. And through her works, Warsanshire tries to reveal the terrible and horrible condition of refugees, and she is trying to say that nobody leaves their home to go to another country only when the home that they are living becomes the mouth of a shark. Shark is a fish that we see in the ocean, and that is a fish that attacks a number of fishes. And when our home becomes the mouth of a shark, only then we would seek somewhere else and become a refugee. So that's all for today. I hope today's session was fruitful for you all. See you again in the next class. Bye bye.